Hello everybody, Global Warming Skeptic here, just for a quick 1 minute video or so because I want to. This is one of the big issues with modern day progressivism, and it's just sad, and I hope they come to regret these attitudes, but here's the thing. Let me just read the quote. The hardest thing I have ever done in my life is to try and not hate Trump-tards. And I am not being very successful at that endeavor at the moment. So, you got people who talk about Trump's hate. You know, comments saying, Trumpers, Trumpets, Trump supporters, their currency is hate. They're hateful people. They hate everybody. They hate the Hispanics. They hate the Muslims. They hate everybody. And in reality, and you've especially seen this in the Charlotte riots, Baltimore, Black Lives Matter, all that, these are the hateful people. The people who will, you talk about violence at rallies. And what you'll usually talk about at a Trump rally is like somebody getting shoved or, somebody, you know, getting kicked in the head once or something. It's just as stupid. Well, it is stupid, but keep in mind that, compare that to what happened when Bernie Sanders was running. It wouldn't just be a shove, a punch, or just some kind of disrespectful slap, pat on the head, pat on the back, something like that. No, they would sock the guy in the face and beat the living shit out of him to the point where the guy is oozing blood like mad. And we're getting to a very dangerous point where progressives in this country really do hate people who disagree with them. Like, let me just give you something from my philosophy. I don't fully agree with a complete Muslim ban, but I understand it, and I could deal with something like that because ultimately Islam is not a religion of peace. It is a religion of conquest, and we have a problem with terror attacks. We have a problem with ISIS. Now, keep in mind, in my justification for saying that you could at least justify a ban on all Muslim immigration, notice I did not invoke hate. There's no hate in that. I don't hate Muslims. I don't hate people who think Islam is a religion of peace. It is a functional policy position. I have a rational explanation, whether you agree with that explanation or not. I came about it through rational processes, through making what I feel like are reasonable deductions. It has nothing to do with hating a group of people. Same thing for the illegal immigrants. I think that they ought to be deported. The reason I think that illegal immigrants should be deported is because our social structures are getting overfilled as it is. People are having problems finding work, and they are undercutting American workers to lower their wages. And so, if you want to increase worker demand, you have to decrease the number of workers. That's just how you do it. Simple as that. Now notice, in my explanation, did I ever say once that I hate illegal immigrants? I hate Mexicans. I hate Hispanics. I hate brown people. No. Never once did I use the word hatred. Never once did I imply hatred. I don't hate them. I wish them the best of life, but We're not responsible for non-citizens. If you're not foreign, if you don't have permission to work here, then you belong in the country that you are a citizen of, not here. Again, nothing to do with hatred. So, what about Black Lives Matter? Well, the reason why I disagree with the Black Lives Matter movement is because they are focusing on the wrong thing. Rather than focusing on the general issue of police brutality, which is a problem, I've been, not necessarily police brutality, but police harassment, I've been a victim of that. Because I walk everywhere I go. I don't drive, I walk. And when people are walking in certain parts of the country where people don't normally walk to where they need to go, the police stop and they ask questions. And I've been held up for as long as at least a half hour, just so that they could get other cops there, check warrants, etc., because they were sure I was somebody. But anyhow, it's beside the point. The point is, there's a general problem with police misconduct, police incompetence, police brutality. And note that you don't have to hate the police. You don't have to say they're racists to think that they're incompetent. Because when you look at the statistics, in reality, police enforce the law on white people more than black people. Now, black people are overrepresented in the amount of police killings, but when accounting for violent crime, they're underrepresented. Because black people commit about half the homicides in this country. And no, I'm not saying they commit that because they're black. You don't have to be hateful to realize a statistic. It is a statistical fact. Look at FBI Expanded Homicide Data Table 6 as proof. Black people, despite making up 34% of the or 13% of the population, make up about half of homicides. That's a statistical fact. And you can look that up for yourselves. And so, again, I'm not saying black people are bad because they're black. It's because of socioeconomic status. It's because of many other things. There's a lot of other problems that are plaguing the black community that lead to them being overrepresented and underrepresented in various metrics. Yes, that's got to be fixed, but the problem with Black Lives Matter is they're not supporting things that will fix it. What they say is that all white people are racist, white people are privileged because of the color of their skin. And let me just debunk this thing about white privilege real quick. If you're born, as I was, in a poor black neighborhood, and you live in that same neighborhood, born with the same amount of money, born with the same lack of wealth, where's your white privilege? Where's my white privilege? That's what I'd like somebody to answer in the comments. Where is my white privilege? If white people are so advantaged, and see, because once you start quoting statistics, you immediately forfeit the skin color argument. White people are not privileged for the mere fact of being white. It's a fact. And yes, there are black stereotypes, but there are also white stereotypes. So, here's the point I'm getting at. Notice, in all that I just said, every argument that I just made, go back through it again, all the way back to when I was talking about black people being overrepresented in police deaths. Notice I did not say anything about hate. Not one word. And I just talked for what, 3-4 minutes? Nothing about hate. Nothing about anger toward this group. Nothing about I feel superior to this group. Nothing about that. You don't have to have hatred to disagree. I'll even say that to liberals, and I think this is the biggest one too. I disagree with liberals on a lot of things. I lean conservatively. I'm more of a libertarian. And I disagree with liberals on a lot of things. And I can argue those issues very well. If anybody wants to debate me, they're free to do so. Because whether or not you agree, the very fact is that all my positions I came up with rationally. I could be wrong, and I'd love for somebody to prove me wrong. I'm not saying I'm always right. I'm not even saying I'm right a majority of the time. What I'm saying is it's all about rationale. People come up with their positions based on rational thinking. It's like I said, they could be wrong, but it's rational. It's almost never based on hatred or love or preference toward a certain group of people. It's a difference of opinion. And this is where I differ with liberals, because when you talk to somebody who's a liberal as a conservative, the main vibe you get is that this person does not like you. It's like, it's not just that you disagree and that you're a dumbass for being wrong. You're a hateful person if you disagree with them, and therefore they justify their hatred toward you. It's dehumanization, and that is what leads to a lot of violence. Everybody's a human being. And I've said this to conservatives too. Every single person is a human being. Whether you lean left, whether you lean right, if you lean mega far left and you're a Rush Limbaugh, Michael Savage, a blind fanboy who does not care about what the other side says, that's a human being too. And they could be wrong. But they're human, and they have human feelings, human desires, human emotions. That they have every bit as much empathy and capability of wrongdoing as you do. You're not superior to them morally at all. So, to act like people are less than human just because they disagree is the very same attitude that, and I hate to bring up this boogeyman, but it's a fact, it's the very same attitude that Democrats had toward slaves. They're apes, and they don't know better. Thanks for listening. God bless.